Hi, my friends. How are you all today? I hope you're well. Let's talk about the inner critic, that harsh inner voice that we empaths, chosen ones, star seeds tend to have. That voice in our heads that tells us we're not good enough. And it may not tell us overtly and aggressively, it may be subtly. So when things don't go your way, they don't go according to plan, then that voice, that inner critic voice can be brutal. It can be harsh. It can be relentless. It can show no mercy. The voice in your head can lead you to feeling shame, as well as feelings of doubt and insecurity. And it's basically a voice that you've inherited. If you came from an abusive childhood, whether that be narcissistic family, or partners, then there's a voice that's in your head, and it's not your voice. It's a voice that you've had maybe since you were a child, or maybe since your first significant relationship that may have been with a toxic individual that told you you weren't good enough, that you wouldn't be anything without them, that they were the best that you could get. It could be your parent. Your own parent could have shamed you, neglected you, made you feel bad, made you feel that if you didn't perform always, that you weren't good enough. And this voice carries through with you from your childhood through to adulthood. And it can affect your choices in life. You could be a high achiever with work. You could be successful with what you do. You could be successful with friends, but there could be an area of your life that you're not successful with. It could be relationships, intimate relationships that you're not successful with. Or it could be in the workplace. You're not successful with standing up for yourself. And you have this voice. And this voice can tell you that you're not good enough, that you're messed up again, that you're just not capable, that you should know your limits. And it can also stop you from aiming high, because when you listen to that voice and you've heard it so many times, it gets to a point where it doesn't even need to speak to you, because you just instinctively make the choice of choosing something of lower quality, whether it's a job, whether it's a person that you choose to be with, or friends that you choose to have, because you just think you're going to fail, or they're going to leave you, or you're just not good enough. So when you hear that voice, you need to dissociate yourself with that voice. Dissociate yourself from that voice. You are not that voice. That voice has been implanted like a Trojan horse, like malware virus script running in your head. And it's not you. My voice was firstly from my mother. Conditional love, conditional affection, if I didn't perform according to her standards, then I wasn't good enough. And I always had to perform for her to feel good, perform for her to look good in front of her friends, as an extension of her. If I didn't perform, then basically it made her look bad. You know, she needed to get the praise and the adulation from friends and family and people she met. You know, for friends to say, oh, your daughter is so smart. Wow, she got into this school. Oh, your daughter can play the piano. She's very good at ballet. She does this. She does that. She achieves these grades. It's not about me achieving. It's about her looking good. And if I didn't, it was the disappointment, the silent treatment, maybe the beatings, you know, being chastised and never having a choice to be you, never having a choice to be me. So you carry that with you. And basically, the next biggest voice that I had was my first real boyfriend at 17. And I didn't know at the time that he was a narcissist. In fact, he was, I would say, looking back, a narcissistic sociopath. Because although he did feed on the praise, the adoration of others, the attention of others, what he really enjoyed was manipulating others. And he didn't, that was more of what he enjoyed. That was more of what he fed on, manipulating others, putting others down, making others feel bad so that he could control them, basically. If he got the attention and the affection and the adoration, that was great. But what he thrived on was manipulation, exploitation, and controlling others. Basically, that was what he thrived on more than the attention. And I remember being with him, and in the whole year that I was with him, most of that year was devaluation. And he did cheat on me as well, but the devaluation was always, you're not good enough, you're fat. And at that time, I was as skinny as. I remember him telling me all the time, you're fat, you need to lose weight. And I got so skinny that I didn't have a menstrual cycle. That is how bad it was. I just stopped eating. And still, he kept telling me that I was fat. And family and friends were telling me that you're too skinny, you're emaciated, you need to eat, you need to eat. And I saw that as, oh, I'm going in the right direction. I'm going in the right direction. That must mean I'm doing something right. If they're telling me that I'm too thin and he's telling me that I'm too fat, then I must be going in the right direction. You know, he told me that I would never get any better than him, that he'd had better than me. And You know, at 17, now if someone was to tell me those things, I wouldn't even stick around to hear the entire sentence. I would be gone like the flash. But at that time, I don't know, I just felt down, but maybe there was a part of me that obviously believed him, why I stayed with him. And he always made me feel like I was less than. So that making me feel that I was less than meant that I clung on to him when I should have thrown him away. But I clung to him. And in the end, all I wanted was his validation. His validation was all that mattered to me. And really and truly, it was just a continuation of the inner critic that my mother had installed in me, that then led me to choose people, partners that looked down on me, that treated me badly. And I never had another partner after him that outright said those things to me and made me feel that way overtly. But it set the trend for future narcissists in my life and sociopaths, manipulative beings in my life. Now, you have that voice in your head, that inner critic that says to you, you're not good enough, and puts you in shame when you make what could be regarded as a minor mistake, but you're so hard on yourself. It's not your voice. You should dissociate from that voice. So don't identify with that voice. Listen to it and say, oh, it's you again. And when it tells you, you should have done better, you should have known better, well, you reply, I did my best. And I did what I did with the information that I knew. And now that I know better, I will do better. That voice is a voice of fear. That voice, in some ways, may be there to protect you, trying to protect you, but it does the opposite. It leaves you vulnerable. It shatters your self-esteem, your confidence. It also works against your intuition. It makes you gaslight yourself. So that voice, dissociate with it. Dissociate from it. You can hear it and you don't have to engage with it. You can disengage, dissociate, and let it have its say and let it pass. See it as an annoying passenger in your vehicle that if you get emotional and pay it too much attention, you feed it. Whereas if you don't engage or you respond logically and not emotionally and give yourself the compassion that that inner critic fails to give you, then it will wither and go away. It will silence itself. It will become silent. But as long as you feed it with attention and emotion and your actions, reactions to it, then it will overpower you. So that's one thing that you should learn to do to silence that inner critic. Now, the inner critic, when it comes to toxic individuals that have taken advantage of me, that I've let take advantage of me, so I'm not completely putting the blame on them. Yes, they were wrong for what they did, but at the same time, they couldn't do anything that I didn't allow them to do. My inner critic has been brutal. Brutal. You should have known better. You're ridiculous. You're stupid. You'll never do better. Oh, we're here again. We're here again, aren't we? The same cycle again. It just shows how incapable you are of making decisions for yourself. The inner critic is brutal. And lately, after this last situation that I had with the narcopath, it was particularly brutal when I learned about narcissism. And I learned about the narcissist having arrested development. My inner critic came in and said to me, "You're an abuser. You should have known better. This person was emotionally stunted and you had a relationship with them. You were intimate with them when they were emotionally immature and emotionally stunted, arrested development, the maturity of perhaps someone between 5 and 12 years old. And you got into a relationship with them. What kind of person does that make you?" That was my inner critic. My inner critic said to me, "You were the abuser, because although they're toxic, they are immature. They have arrested development, and you should have known better. They have mental health issues, and you were intimate with them. They were functional lunatics, but they were lunatics. And you wouldn't go out there and abuse a child. Yet you were with someone that had the mental, emotional maturity of a child." And I battled with that. I really did. But I had to say to myself, this person deceived me. They knowingly deceived me. They wore a mask to deceive me. If they had been their true self, well, they don't have a self, but if they hadn't put on a performative act and just been who they were, then I would not have got involved with them. And the person can plan to deceive, they can work, they can manipulate, and they can choose to lie and deceive and be abusive. Therefore, they have enough faculties about them that I am not an abuser. But at the time, my inner critic made me feel deep core shame for being involved with the narcopath and others that were narcissists and sociopaths, because they have arrested development and are emotionally immature. So my inner critic made me feel deep core shame. And it wasn't until I started showing myself the compassion, giving myself the love and compassion that I failed to receive as a child from my parents, and growing up failed to give to myself because it hadn't been shown to me and I hadn't been taught how to show myself that compassion. Now, since the dark night of the soul and my awakening, I've learned to comfort my inner child and comfort myself as an adult now, and give myself the compassion that I wasn't shown and I deserved as a child and growing up. I deserved and I didn't receive. I've learned to give myself that, and that is what you need to learn to give yourself. It's part of self-love, self-affirmation, that you are worthy, that you are good enough, that you were always worthy of love and care and affection. And you not receiving it is not because you're not good enough. It's because those people, be it your parents or your partners, other family members, they failed. They ultimately failed. You were always good enough. You were and are good enough. And you need to believe that. And you don't need anyone to tell you otherwise. You believe in yourself. External validation will always have you falling short. It will always have you second guessing whether you're good enough, whether you're worthy. Learn to validate yourself internally and know that it's never too late, because you didn't get it and receive it in your childhood, and maybe for most of your adulthood, doesn't mean it's too late to start receiving that love. And it starts with you. Don't expect to receive it from anyone else if you can't give it to yourself. To give it to yourself is to know yourself, okay? Is to know that you're worthy, and then knowing that you're worthy and believing that you're worthy, you can then receive it from others. And you can reject those that are not capable of giving it to you. You know, they were never capable. They failed because they were ultimately incapable of giving you the love, affection that you deserved. But you can give it to yourself, okay? So that's what I wanted to say today. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and remember, this is a journey. It's not a sprint. It's a journey that takes time. And as long as you're progressing, that is what matters. Slow progress is still progress, okay? And don't measure your progress against someone else's progress. Their journey is their journey. Your journey is yours, okay? Stay blessed, and I'll see you soon. Take care.